series called Podcasting Pro Tips with our very own podcasters and their pro tips. और अब हम बात करने वाले हैं. I've been looking forward to speaking to you, Anurag Sharma से. Hi.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Anurag,
Ikroop, for calling me here.
Anurag is the founder of Socially Desi and another one, which I'm going to let him tell us. Tell us about both your podcasts, Anurag.
All right. So, I run a couple of podcasts under Socially Desi. One is called the Socially Desi Show, which is a weekly podcast. And what we do is under that podcast, we interview a lot of experts, thought leaders, business owners regarding a lot of themes and topics which revolve around business, entrepreneurship, mental health, relationships. So major 6 categories that we have focused on Socially Desi. And the other one is called Namaste India. It's a Hubhopper original. And we've been doing that for over 500 episodes now. So Namaste India is a daily podcast that we do. It's a Hindi podcast. And जो भी news happenings around the world, जो भी impact करती है आपको और मुझे on a daily basis, that is what we focus on Namaste India. But yeah, I mean, these are the 2 podcasts that we have. And recently we crossed the 1 million listenership on the podcast. So yeah, thankful to everyone.
Congratulations. That's a big
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Anurag, tell me about yourself. Are you, आपकी जिंदगी का एक दिन podcast के लिए कितना dedicate किया जाता है और बाकी, how much of it is life otherwise?
Oh, okay. So I'm a full-time entrepreneur and Socially Desi is actually my bread and butter. Okay. So I have monetized my podcast and I also do brand strategy. So I'm a strategy consultant, been working with corporates for the last, I left my job back in 2017. Till then, I had around 6 years of job experience working with different MNCs across the globe. And 2017 mein that entrepreneurial bug bit me and I was like, theek hai, let me do something on my own. Left my job, did a couple of startups and eventually, they say third time's the charm. So Socially Desi came into being in late 2019. But to answer your question, in a day, almost 4 to 5 hours is what I dedicate to podcasting. For my content because it's a daily routine of talking to guests, talking to PR companies and wonderful platform and producers like you. And of course, apart from that, getting the content out on different platforms. Namaste India is a daily show. So that's a daily hustle that we do every night. So, and we can't batch produce that because it's daily content, daily news. So sometimes there are days when we try to record an episode at 7 in the evening and Modi ji 8 baje aa jate hain, then we have to change the episode. And
cancel करो, fresh script, वहाँ फिर से call करो, चलो setting, खिड़की बंद करो, दरवाजे बंद करो.
True. So that happens. So yeah, for me, it's almost a 4 to 5 hours dedicated for podcasting. And apart from that, yes, I do consult a lot of brands regarding their brand strategy, social media. So that also takes up a few chunks of my time. So it's a daily chore for me.
Wow. So this is such a great thing because आपसे जो perspective हमें मिलेगा वो सिर्फ एक podcaster के नजरिए से नहीं मिलेगा. We are actually going to speak to you as somebody who zooms out and can look at the bigger picture because of the brand strategy and comm strategy work that you do. So Anurag, शुरू करते हैं. सबसे पहले आपकी advice क्या होगी उन सब लोगों के लिए who have been toying with the idea, हाँ यार मुझे podcast शुरू करना है, पर क्या करूँ, किस पे करूं, कैसे डिसाइड करूं, ये टॉपिक है. I have 5 interests. I think I can sing very well. Maybe I'm a very good movie buff. But how do I really decide? Because आपकी जो दोनों podcasts है वो काफी focused है. So please answer.
Okay, so my advice, see, when you have multiple thoughts in your mind when it comes to your podcast or maybe the kind of content, like even if you say that I'm a content creator, मुझे कुछ पसंद है. Let's say I like singing or I like drawing something. Can I translate that experience into an audio format? First of all, that should be your thought process. राइट? अगर मैं मुझे गाना गाना पसंद है या मुझे आर्ट बनाना पसंद है, कैन आई ट्रांसलेट दैट एक्सपीरियंस, कैन आई ट्रांसलेट दैट एंड ब्रिंग द ऑडियंस इनटू माय वर्ल्ड, कैन आई डू दैट? अगर ये आपका क्वेश्चन का आंसर अगर यस है टू एनी ऑफ द फॉर्मेट्स दैट यू थिंक ऑफ, any art form, any performance that you do, then yes, podcastingly you just have to hit the record button, nothing else. I always say, whenever I meet new podcasters, when I interact with them on our WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, I tell them that ज्यादा सोचिए मत, बहुत ज्यादा थॉट प्रोसेस में हम लोग वो एनालिसिस पैरालिसिस इज अ ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम विथ एंटरप्रेन्योर्स एंड क्रिएटिव पीपल. So analysis paralysis से दूर हटिए, figure out the voice in your head. What is that one thing that you feel people should know and you can tell it better?
So it's
Like,
connecting the voice in the head and the heart.
yes, 100%, 100%. And you may not, like, you can start off with something and it may turn out into a very different beast altogether. So, sometimes people want that perfect thing to start off with, and I believe perfection is a myth. So, don't go for perfection. Getting done is way better than, doing something in perfection, because perfection will never get released. You will never have a perfect episode.
Very true.
So मेरी advice यही होगी, if you have a thought in your mind, if you feel that this is something that I can project in a better way and लोगों को सुनना चाहिए इसको, go for it. I think you should definitely get into podcasting.
So which was the first podcast that you started?
Oh, so first podcast was the Socially Desi show, which started in April 2020. And मेरे ख्याल से पहला तो मैंने ट्रेलर ही बनाया था, and the trailer was all about to tell people, I think that is, I was like pretty focused, okay, what is the kind of content I want to share with people. So we had 6 major categories, which was personal development, relationships, business and entrepreneurship, health and fitness, mental health. So these 6 major categories I wanted to be focused on that. तो इसलिए मैंने पहला एपिसोड तो मेरा ट्रेलर था. And I think everybody should start off with understanding what they want to showcase in their podcast. And a trailer really gives you that, because within that 1 minute, 59 seconds ke andar, you have to tell everybody why they should listen to you and what do you bring on the table. So right. I think that was my first podcast. And उसके बाद के 2-3 जो podcast थे, those were
I was just coming to that. मैं ये पूछना चाह रही थी. हमने अभी बात की यार दिल की सुनो, दिमाग में जो आवाज है उसको just go ahead and just get behind the mic and निकालो आवाज अपनी. You said ज्यादा सोच विचार मत करो. So my question is, ये बहुत लोगों के साथ होता है, यार घबराहट हो रही है, पता नहीं कैसे होगा, एंड हम जाते हैं, हम कर देते हैं, 1 2 3 एपिसोड तक हम अपना हाथ साफ कर रहे होते हैं. हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस? आपके पहले 2-3 एपिसोड्स आपको याद है? आई एम श्योर याद होंगे.
Yeah, for sure. And in fact, when I started doing the first few episodes, I didn't really thought that this podcast will eventually turn into a podcast where I'll be interviewing people. So the Socially Desi show, the initial, like I said, right, abhi thodi der pehle, it may turn into a different beast altogether. So initially my thought was not to have guests on the show. It was just me. I thought I'll share my own thoughts, my own perspectives on these categories that I've thought of. And website pe maine already blogs likhna shuru kar diya tha, sociallydesi.com pe. So initial 2-3 episodes, if you go, there was one really nice episode that I did. I tried Jeff Bezos's 15-day routine. I tried his daily routine for 15 days. I did that and I shared my experience, that what did I feel? How did that changed my life? So that was my thought. But वो 2-3 जो initially episodes मैंने release किए थे, उसमें 2 views मुझे मिलते थे. एक मेरे होते थे, एक किसी और के घर में से किसी और, मतलब मेरे घर में 4 लोग हैं लेकिन फिर भी 2 व्यूज मिलते थे. So initially, the journey starts off like that. It will be just you and your baby, which is your podcast. So you have to protect that baby and keep nurturing it. And someday that will turn into something bigger. And that's what happened. Like my 5th or my 6th episode, I think I got my first guest on the podcast, Kritika Manshani, very very humble person. तो उसके साथ मैंने एक किया था, प्रोडक्टिविटी सिस्टम्स पे किया था, because I landed up on her YouTube channel. I was looking at some productivity systems which I can follow for my podcast, and I landed up on her video, and I was like, why don't I just give her a buzz and see if she might be interested? Because at that time I was a nobody. So I don't know if she would be interested or not. I gave her a buzz. She was like, okay, fine, let's do it. And next thing we know, we were on that episode. And that made me realize the power of having different perspectives on your show.
Right.
Right, instead of having one mind, you have multiple people coming in together, and that's how the whole transformation came in for Socially Desi. It became like a proper interview show where I will get people in and do interviews with them.
तो नमस्ते इंडिया के बारे में बताइए, how did that happen? What is the format that you follow there? Similar format?
Namaste India is a different, the kind of podcasting is very different from Socially Desi. Socially Desi needs a lot of structuring, strategy, discussions, because you have guests, their PR companies, because I'm only interviewing founders, co-founders. So, having multiple rounds of conversations, sharing a show flow with them, a structure. So all these things take time. So finalizing one episode at least takes me 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
Right. And I'm doing this with multiple guests weekly. So that is a very different beast. But with Namaste India, we have different nuances. So me and my co-host Shivam, we started off as gaming friends. We met online. We were playing Counter-Strike, and I met him online. Yeah, we met online. We became friends. Then a group of friends came together, and so when I started Socially Desi, uske kuch time ke baad, I was just chatting with him, and I said, "Ki yaar, I wanted to do another podcast, and this is what I feel should be the format and all. And I want this to be a daily podcast, yaar. Kar sakta hai?" And he was like, "Bilkul kar sakta hu." And he actually did some radio jockeying back in his college days. So he was like, "Yeah, even I have that aspiration to share my voice with the world." And I was like, "Perfect, yaar, mujhe co-host mil gaya." And I was like, "Shivam, please join me. Please join Socially Desi." Actually, he is part of Socially Desi, but he also works with a different company as an IT professional. But he is now part of Socially Desi also. तो उस वक्त में हम लोगों ने एक ही प्रॉमिस किया था एक दूसरे से कि कुछ भी हो जाए, हमें हर दिन एक एपिसोड रिलीज करना है. That was the simple promise that we made to each other, and touch wood, till now we have kept that promise.
You've not missed anything.
Yeah, we have not missed a day so far since 18th of May 2020. We have not missed an episode daily.
Wow.
And the format of that Namaste India is very simple. हम लोग जो भी आपकी और मेरी लाइफ को इम्पैक्ट करता है, एनी न्यूज, एनी इवेंट दैट हैपेंड, इट कैन बी एंटरटेनमेंट, इट कैन बी एनीथिंग. लाइक वी आल्सो हैव अ सेगमेंट व्हिच ओनली टॉक्स अबाउट ट्विटर के हैशटैग्स. सो एवरी संडे वी हैव ट्विटर पे ट्रेंडिंग सेगमेंट दैट वी हैव लॉन्च्ड. हम लोग सिर्फ जो हैशटैग्स ट्रेंड कर रहे हैं ट्विटर पे, उनके बारे में बात करते हैं कि हाउ रेलेवेंट आर दोस, उनका कुछ काम है भी कि नहीं है.
तो कितना आपकी स्क्रिप्ट जो होती है नमस्ते इंडिया की, एक एपिसोड में कितनी हंसी होती है और कितने शब्द होते हैं उसमें? Because I've heard you guys and there's camaraderie. आप दोनों की केमिस्ट्री बहुत खूबसूरती से नजर आती है, and you guys are really having a blast. There's so much laughter that जो सुनने वाला होता है वो भी हंसी पड़ता है, no matter what. Yeah. तो कितना हंसते हो, कितना बोलते हो?
ये I think I'll tell you, starting में जब हमने शुरू किया था नमस्ते इंडिया, we used to write everything.
So you are preempting my questions because मेरे अगला question स्क्रिप्ट के बारे में.
नहीं, तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ. Maybe that question I'll deep dive into that discussion, but मैं आपको एक initial thought देता हूँ कि पहले हम लोग लिखते थे सारी scripts, and उसमें होता था कि अनुराग, like literally there used to be हमारा notepad पे अनुराग dash ये बोलेगा, then शिवम dash ये बोलेगा, then bullet points and whatever we wanted to cover. Initial, I think for the first 100 episodes we did that. But during those 100 episodes हम लोगों के बीच में इतना अच्छी chemistry बन गई थी कि मुझे और the fun fact is we never met in person. Every recording.
You are preempting all my questions because that is when you said we were playing Counter-Strike. I wanted to ask you, dude, have you ever met him till date?
I have met him once when he came over, but that was way before Socially Desi started. That was way before Socially Desi started. So I met him once. So we have just met once and we have released more than 500 episodes together.
Just look at
Uh,
that power of digital word.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, like this, we do it every evening. We sit down, we record our episodes. But I think वो जो chemistry की आप बात कर रहे हैं ना कि that chemistry, the laughter, it all started coming naturally to us. And today, what we do is we don't have a script anymore. We don't do scripted podcasts anymore. We just discuss for half an hour, 45 minutes. We come on a call. We discuss कि यार अच्छा ठीक है, these were the things that happened throughout the day. So हम लोग क्या करते हैं यहाँ पे अपने on the phone we keep jotting down दिन भर में कुछ भी हमें जो एक्साइटिंग लगता है या समथिंग विच इज रियली important for people to know, हम लोग वो लिखते रहते हैं आपस में, and then in the evening we'll just shortlist के अच्छा is this worthy blah 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 blah, and then we finalize and we hit record and we start talking about it. तो उसमें बातें भी आ जाती हैं, कोई डिस्कशंस भी आते हैं, हंसी मजाक भी आ जाता है. अब इतना नेचुरल हो गया, आई थिंक हमें सोचना नहीं पड़ता कि कितना हंस रहे हैं हम, कितना बता रहे हैं. बट येस, हंसी से ज्यादा इट्स रियली इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी ब्रिंग आउट द पॉइंट्स. तो इसलिए हम लोग मेक श्योर करते हैं कि जो सीरियस डिस्कशंस हैं, हंसी मजाक हम करते हैं बीच बीच में, लेकिन वी मेक श्योर कि हंसी मजाक का सेक्शन जैसे ही जाता है देन वी गेट इनटू द सीरियस स्टफ सो दैट पीपल नो कि क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं और उनको किस तरीके से हम हैंडल कर सकते हैं. दैट इज व्हाट इट इज. सो वी ट्राई टू कीप इट अ बैलेंस. कभी कभी हंसी मजाक ज्यादा हो जाता है एपिसोड में. वी आल्सो डोंट वांट टू बी लाइक बड़े सीरियस मुंह बना के बैठे रहते हैं, बट या.
So then, okay. So Anurag, my next question to you is for somebody who's just starting out, जो अभी शायद nervous है, confused है, यार समझ में आ गया ठीक है मुझे क्या करना है, पॉडकास्ट के बारे में, पॉडकास्ट किस चीज के बारे में होना चाहिए, but how do I approach it? If you break it down, next step in my experience, very important is what you write on paper, scripting. So can you share your scripting process or your pro tips for somebody?
For sure. I think the first thing is to understand your theme, what episode you want to make, right? And since, there are plethora of categories under podcasting, so for everyone, the kind of scripting that you do will differ. But I'll share a few fundamentals that you need to keep in mind while you are scripting. So number one is, if you are just starting off, if you are having trouble, if you feel like कि यार मैं बोल नहीं पाऊंगा बिना देखे हुए, I always tell them that you go full scripting. आप जो भी बोलना चाहते हैं, record that and put it on a piece of paper. And I generally, sometimes if I have to script something, so on my Mac, I dictate and it automatically converts into text. So I'm sure with Windows and Mac, you have that capability where you can just dictate and it converts into text. So do that if you feel like your writing is a big task. Even I don't like writing sometimes. So if sometimes I'm lying in my bed, I'll just open up my dictation and I'll just speak and it converts. And ठीक है, उसमें minor mistakes होती हैं, you can adjust. So I always tell people that if you're just starting off, script everything so that you don't miss out on the main theme of your episode, because that is what is going to hook your audience to keep listening to you every day. Like they will come back to you.
Absolutely.
So scripting, if you're starting off, is a must. You can go word by word to start off with, like I also
जैसे
did.
आपने 100 एपिसोड्स किए ना, आपने कहा कि आप नमस्ते इंडिया के आपने जो पहले 100 एपिसोड्स किए वो स्क्रिप्टेड थे. So उसके बाद you had that experience that now you can say अच्छा ठीक है, I know how to handle
for
it.
Sure.
Right.
For sure. And what happens is sometimes, like, if you are not comfortable in a language, like बहुत लोग जैसे if they want to start an English language podcast, they may not be very comfortable speaking English fluently. तो उनको क्या होता है कि they have this tension in their mind कि मैं कुछ गलत तो नहीं बोल दूंगा, grammatical mistakes तो नहीं हो जाएंगी, even though I don't believe that. यार grammatical mistakes करो, करने दो.
तो हम हाथों से sign language में भी बात कर सकते हैं.
For sure.
I think language, a friend of mine said this and he said it so beautifully that it always stays in my mind कि language is just a borrowed medium जो हमें विरासत में मिली. ये शब्द हमने नहीं बनाए हैं. So it is very restricting till you actually can get inside my heart and see what I feel and what I'm trying to say. I'm just borrowed lineage. So
true.
Yeah, I agree that language, be true to yourself is maybe more important.
Absolutely. And this should not be a barrier for you to, stop your content, stop
Correct.
making your content. This should not be a barrier. तो अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है, to any podcaster listening or watching us, अगर आपको लगता है कि you may face that problem and you may get stuck, तो आप लिखना शुरू कर दीजिए, write to the word everything. You write it down,
Right.
script it down, and then you release it slowly and steadily. आपकी scripts automatically short होने लग जाएंगी. इंट्रोडक्शन आपको याद हो जाएगा, आपका इंट्रो
Right.
आपको याद हो जाएगा. पहले मुझे भी इंट्रो याद नहीं होता था. I used to take multiple takes on my intro. ठीक है.
Right. Yes.
And so that used to happen, but that's okay. You will
Yeah, I
make
think
mistakes.
for time के बाद बैलेंस आ जाता है कि एक्सटेम्पररी, यानी आप
For
ऑन द
sure.
कितना बोल सकते हैं और आपको कितनी जरूरत है स्क्रिप्टेड की. ये बात हमने की अनुराग एक ऐसे शो की जो आप मोस्ट प्रोबेबली यू आर रनिंग इट, यू आर द सेंटर स्टेज, आप सिंगल पर्सन होस्ट के तौर पे कर रहे हैं. When you're doing in and outs of different clips, audios, or news pieces or something you're referring to. अब हम बात करते हैं taking in reference to your other show, Socially Desi, which is all about guests. So
Yeah.
how do you handle that? Inviting guests, getting them on, the content, and any legal work. Have you ever signed, have you requested a guest to sign legally, approvals to use, all that? So just take us through that process.
Okay, so with the Socially Desi show, since it's a guest-oriented, interview-oriented show, I always interact with my guests prior to bringing them on the show. So there's a process that I follow. The first thing is, with the Socially Desi show, my guests are not the center stage of the episode. So it's not a show wherein Ikroop is coming and I'm talking about Ikroop. No, there's a particular theme that I have in mind. So let's say we are talking about podcasts. So the theme
Right.
will be podcasts, how to grow your podcast, or maybe how do you produce a podcast. And then I have a podcast producer, Ikroop, who's coming in and she's complementing my theme. Right. So my guests are always complementing or adding value to the conversation. That's how I approach all my guest interviews. So initially, once I finalize a theme, my next step is to figure out, who can be the best guest for this episode and whom I can reach out easily. A lot of times, these are helped by PR agencies that work for these clients. Sometimes I reach out to them on LinkedIn. I stalk them on LinkedIn, see if I can get in touch with them, or maybe on Instagram, wherever. So which platform? First, you have to understand which platform your guest is most active on. Get
Right.
onto that platform, interact with them, add value to their content also. You can't just go and talk to them about coming onto your podcast directly. Like,
Oh,
you can't be salesy. Like, you can't just directly go and ki ye kharid lo mera, because that is what everybody does on LinkedIn. Everybody, like, I get so many requests. The moment I accept somebody's request, oh, you want to earn extra money, make this, do that. So people are now they zone out very easily. So
right.
if they accept your request and the next message that they see is my name is Anurag Sharma, I run this and this, come to my show, they will zone out immediately. They will not even reply. So I think you'll have to build that rapport first with your guest, and that is why it takes time for me to get my guests on board.
तो
So
कितना
once
कितना टाइम लगता है on an average, अनुराग, in your experience, if you start, आज मैंने identify किया और finally the guest has come, how long is this?
guest has come or he has agreed.
Okay, agreed.
Agreed will take around 7 to 10 days.
Wow. So आपको अपने एपिसोड की बैक प्लानिंग उतनी 7 to 10 days, यानी मान के चलो 2 हफ्ते.
For me, it's a month. So if I have to release an episode by अगर मुझे release करना है end of October, तो मुझे उस guest के लिए 1st of October से search करना शुरू करना पड़ेगा.
Got it.
So हाँ, the PR agencies, and if you have a tie-up with somebody, it just helps in reducing a week.
Got it.
Because they identify themselves, they'll have their clientele, तो उसी में से वो लोग, they will try to force fit somebody.
Right.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
work. Is there any money involved in this? Is there a professional fees that you need to pay?
No, I don't. So thankfully, so far, I've built good relations with all these PR firms. I work with more than 6 PR firms in India, and fortunately, I have made good relations with them. So, it's just about picking up the call, talking to them, and just
Yes,
identifying
yeah.
somebody, and that's how we work with
Right.
branded content also for the podcast.
Absolutely. आप कोई एनडीए या कोई लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट साइन करते हैं अपने गेस्ट्स के साथ?
Mm,
Asking for permissions to use this audio and the views or something like that?
अभी तक मैंने कोई ऐसा लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं साइन किया हुआ है. व्हाट वी डू इज जनरली ऑन द शो, सिंस आई मेक इट वेरी क्लियर दैट दिस इज माय कंटेंट. Okay, and we have agreed upon the kind of discussion that we are going to have, so that show flow becomes like a universe. We stay within that
Yeah.
universe, and of course I tell them that it's a candid conversation.
Right.
And kabhi kabhi while we are having that discussion, I may come up with a couple of new things that pop up in my mind while having that conversation, as long as the guest is okay answering it. And since he's the founder, he's the owner of the company, so nobody else has that say, so it's okay. So I've never really signed a legal document.
Or like an NDA or understanding on email. Do you think that's important? कि बाद में कोई object
Emails, yes. Emails, yes. So I've never signed a legal document as such, but yes, we have always
uh,
communicated
yeah,
what's gonna
emails are
happen on
also,
emails.
yes, emails are also legally binding.
Yeah,
I'm coming from my experience, interviews we've done with very big names. You know, it's very important to say कि आपने जो podcast से बोला है आप हमें उसकी अनुमति दे रहे हैं. You're giving us the
yeah,
permission to use this so that later there is, no bone of contention that we
yes.
need to
Yes,
fix.
we do that. We do that. It's on emails. We have a discussion, and we always have we have 2 rounds of discussions before we even hit the record button.
Right, exactly.
So the first call that I have with my guest is always an icebreaker.
Yes.
So they get to know me, I get to know them. They get to know what socially desi is, because a lot of times PR agencies, they just tell them कि sir एक podcast है, वहाँ पे आपको interview देना है. So they are not much aware about what my platform is, what I do. So that meeting for me is really important, because I want to build that relation with the founder, right, with that company owner. So that meeting is really important. I take them through the entire podcast, what we will do, and during that meeting only we discuss कि क्या हम बात कर सकते हैं, किस थीम के ऊपर हम discussions कर सकते हैं, क्या फाइनल कर सकते हैं. And from there, of course, then on emails the document is shared. That show flow is, you can treat that as a legal binding. It's a document that they have agreed upon. It's been shared with them. They sometimes they add or delete some items that they are not comfortable talking about.
Right.
And uske baad, once we are agreed upon that document, we are on the same page. That is when we finalize a date and time for the recording. So eventually it happens that way, and so that all the parties involved are comfortable.
Right. Last question before we wrap it up. Do you want to share any fun, crazy, mad, scary, or intimidating, or just like a laugh riot kind of a interview you've had? Something that you remember. You've spoken to so many people now. So कुछ ऐसा बताएं? And
Laugh riot. I think there was this one situation where we had to record the episode thrice with my guest.
wow,
Yes, and
कितने
अब तो
बाल
खैर
नोचे
बोल
उसके बाद? गंजे हो गए या फिर? Is that why you
खैर
wear a
अब
cap? Sorry, very
नहीं
bad.
नहीं, unfortunately I have hair, but I actually I put hats on all my videos, तो मैंने एक वो थोड़ा persona सा बना दिया है. I think that is also really
I've always
important.
seen you with a cap. Yes.
Yeah, so I think that is also a persona that you build as a content creator, okay, so that
Always.
people recognize you. So unfortunately, इसलिए cap पहन रहा हूँ मैं.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the situation where I was like, यार मैं क्या करूँ, मतलब why is it going so many times? The first time what happened was there was a lot of background disturbance, and we started the recording. The recording went for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and achanak se there was a lot of noise, something like really weird happened, and it was something I knew कि मैं post production में handle नहीं कर सकता. So I had to stop. I requested, can we reschedule? And the person was, he's really sweet. So 3 times we did. So of course, really sweet. said, "ठीक है, Anurag, let's reschedule." We rescheduled for the weekend. We started doing the weekend, and मेरे यहाँ पे internet का issue started happening.
ओहो, टिट फॉर टैट, एक आप
Yes,
बिगड़ना एक मैं बिगाड़ूंगा, तो
एक
इसलिए
मैं
एक
बिगाड़ूंगा.
बार ठीक हो गया.
ठीक है. सो मेरे यहाँ पे इंटरनेट रिकॉर्डिंग वेंट फॉर अ टॉस बिकॉज ना नेटवर्क आ रहा था, एंड समटाइम्स आई वाज सेइंग समथिंग एंड ही वाज स्टक, आई वाज स्टक
Black.
समटाइम्स, सो इट created a lot of problems, even though we were doing it on a platform where like the recordings are safe. It records locally, so even though there's a network lag, it doesn't really affect the recording, but it was affecting our conversation because it was like हम लोग उस फ्लो में थे, दैट एनर्जी वाज गेटिंग डाइल्यूटेड. मैंने बोला
एकदम.
ये भी नहीं हो रहा है, ये भी नहीं हो रहा. एंड फॉर मी समटाइम्स आई एम लाइक वेरी क्रिटिकल अबाउट माय कंटेंट. अगर वो नहीं होता है अच्छा, तो आई मेक श्योर आई रिकॉर्ड अगेन, डजंट रियली मैटर. तो फिर
Right.
उस टाइम पे भी मैंने उनको बोला कि आई एम सो सॉरी बट दिस इज नॉट हैपनिंग. सेकंड टाइम भी कैंसिल. ठीक है. थर्ड टाइम इवेंचुअली इट हैपेंड. ठीक है. बट उसमें भी हम लोग को लाइक ऑन द सेम डे वी डिड अगेन, सो इट वाज ऑलमोस्ट अ फोर्थ टाइम रिकॉर्डिंग दैट वी डिड, बट वी डिडंट हैव टू गो फॉर अ फोर्थ डे. बट उसी दिन हम लोगों ने थोड़े टाइम के बाद कर लिया था. उस दिन मेरे ख्याल से बारिश हो रही थी बाहर, एंड देयर वाज अगेन सम नॉइज एंड लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैपनिंग. सो
Right.
पर
Great.
इवेंचुअली वी डिड इट. सो वो एक ऐसा मोमेंट था विच आई रियलाइज्ड in that moment. Actually, why I'm telling you this story is that people who are listening, it's always okay to re-record, no matter who that person is, as long as your content is coming out perfect. Like perfect nahi, matlab at least the kind of content that you really wanted to produce.
जो
So
मैसेज है.
it's, yeah, the message. So it's okay, like never downgrade your quality just because light nahi aa rahi thi, तो मैंने यार ऐसे करना पड़ गया, वो हो रहा था, ये हो रहा था. इट्स ओके. एंड इफ यू आस्क देम फॉर, समटाइम्स पीपल गेट अफ्रेड कि यार इतना बड़ा आदमी है, उससे मैं बोलूंगा री रिकॉर्ड करने के लिए, तो वो हाँ बोले या ना बोले, रिलेशनशिप कैसे होंगे. मैंने बोला इट्स ओके, वी ऑल आर ह्यूमंस,
Yeah.
एवरीबडी अंडरस्टैंड्स दैट.
And also that person will not want to come on an episode जिसमें उनकी आवाज clear नहीं और he's not sounding good,
Of
right?
course.
It
Of
works
course,
both
of
ways.
course.
Right.
Yes, and that is what I realized from that whole
Okay.
scenario. कि it's okay, you can say no to them, you can ask them to re-record, you can always reschedule, but get the content that you want, because at the end of the day, just like you said, that once you release it, it becomes your content, and then if there's anything wrong with it, then people are gonna talk about you, not the guest. The
Absolutely.
guest was not controlling it, you were
Yes.
controlling it.
Yes, आपको plan better करना चाहिए था, release नहीं
Yeah,
करना चाहिए था, because you also
true.
have to be fair to the listener. उनका समय भी is precious. They should get the best quality that they can.
For
Fantastic,
sure.
Anurag. I just hope everyone who's watching us or listening to us, they take away all these pure nuggets, gold that you've been sharing with us, and let's see that we have lots of more producers joining the community.
For sure. I mean, the whole podcasting universe in India is growing every day. I keep looking at new people joining Hubhopper on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm really happy, and I keep interacting with people. So yeah, it'll be a great ride. I think looking forward to 2021's ending and 2022's start. So that's gonna be something really interesting.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks so much, Anurag. We wish you all the very best. I'm looking forward to more Masti with you and Shivam. I really love your chemistry. And I'm sorry, you're more partial towards that one because it's just.
No, I mean, we love Namaste India as well. But thank you so much for having me. Yes.
Namaste, Anurag.
Namaste India. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks.
Take care.